Alright, it's time for us to talk sports on global television. We've got all the big stories making the rounds in the exciting world of sport. Last night it was the Carabao Cup, and it was two big teams, two great teams at their best. Talking about Tottenham Hotspur taking on Liverpool, and it was indeed a very titanic battle. So we'll be giving you an update as regards that encounter, and other big stories are making the rounds as Marcus Rashford is still angling to leave the Red Devils, but talks with AC Milan, talk about this art giant, is still hitting the block. So we'll be looking at that. And also we've got Naomi Campbell in tennis, first time seeing her after the split from her father. We'll be looking at that story and other stories making the rounds in the exciting world of sport. Also got the story concerning the first referee in the EPL to make an announcement as regards the VAR. These and other big exciting stories is what we'll be dropping for you on today's edition of the program. Sports, not forgetting that Palmeiras from Brazil is coming for Fulham star player, former Manchester United player also. I'm talking about Andre Pereira. These and other stories will be hitting you right after this break. Still will be Anthony Momodu, be my name. Welcome back from that break. We'll say thank you for joining us on Talk Sport, and deeply sorry we started behind schedule due to some technical issues, but we're ready, and we're ready to fly with all the big stories making the rounds. Let's begin from the big game that played out last night as a furious and slot was left raging when Lucas Bergvall escaped his second yellow card to score Tottenham's winner in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg against Liverpool. The Red Bus slot was incensed on the touchline when Bergvall already on a booking did skilled down Kostas Tsimikas in the build-up to the goal, but escaped further punishment before Bergvall's contentious intervention. The two sides had played out a tight encounter at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it looked set to end goalless after Dominik Solanke saw a goal ruled out for offside midway through the second half. Yet in the 86th minute, it was Bergvall who finished superbly following a good work from the tireless Solanke to net his first goal for Tottenham Hotspur after being booked in this first half for a sliding challenge on Luis Diaz, although replays suggested the Colombian went down with minimal contact from Bergvall and had taken Tsimikas out with another sliding tackle in the second period. However, Stuart Atwell didn't show Bergvall a second yellow card with the 18-year-old goal coming moments after the tackle to add insult to injury. Tsimikas was off the pitch waiting to come on due to the challenge when the Swede netted the goal with the Reds temporarily down to 10 men. The Liverpool bench were left fuming, with one member of the coaching staff receiving a yellow card from Atwell for his protest, while Arne Slot was seen remonstrating with the fourth official. Reds captain Virgil van Dijk also took his anger out on the officials post-match and claimed they must do better. Really sad commentary there. It feels bad when your team is double shot changed, and that's what happened to Liverpool last night. But sweet victory for Tottenham Hotspur. All right, we still have the Tottenham boss still talking this morning as they give an update as regards Bentancur. Ange Postecoglou has delivered an update on Rodrigo Bentancur after the Spurs star was rushed to the hospital in the opening stages of Tottenham's Carabao Cup semi-final clash with Liverpool on Wednesday. The Uruguayan, who has just returned from a ban, started in the midfield for the game, though his night lasted just a few minutes before he hit the deck during a worrying moment at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham started brightly in the game and were setting up for an attacking corner with Bentancur in the box alongside a number of his other teammates. He dived to head Pedro Porro's corner, but appeared to land awkwardly, laying unmoved on the pitch. As play continued with Liverpool goalkeeper Alisson forced into action. It was then clear, though, that Bentancur would require immediate medical attention, and medics soon rushed over as players urged them to hurry, and they tried to attend to Bentancur. The 27-year-old received treatment on the field for 9 minutes. In 9 whole minutes in total, as he left the field on a stretcher to the applause of both sets of fans. When asked about his player after the final whistle on the 1-0 victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Postecoglou shared that his player was conscious but kept further details close to his chest. Sports had posted an update to social media at halftime, revealing that Bentancur was being taken to hospital for further medical assessment, and we wish him all the very best, and hoping that the next 48 hours we should get a clear picture as regards Bentancur, how well he is doing and how quick he can return back to the Tottenham Hotspur lineup in the remaining matches to come. All right, from there, let's talk about one man who is being gone for by the Madrid team. Talking about talking about Real Madrid. We're talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes, he's one man we're looking at this morning. Trent Alexander-Arnold is in the news this morning. Just to let you know that Trent Alexander-Arnold was not started in Liverpool's Carabao Cup semi-final first leg at Tottenham. The England right back who has been left out of the for a 21-year-old starlet, Conor Bradley, put in one of his worst performances in a Liverpool shirt on Sunday as his side drew 2-2 with bitter rivals Manchester United at Anfield. His poor display came just days after Real Madrid made a £20 million approach for the Liverpool star, who is out of contract in the summer and still weighing up his future on Messi's side. Just to let you know that the £20 million offer which Madrid had hoped would bring Alexander-Arnold immediately to the Santiago Bernabeu rather than forcing them to wait until summer for his contract to expire, was rejected by the Reds. Meanwhile, Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk, whose Liverpool deals also run out in the summer, have been named in Arne Slot's was named in Arne Slot's first 11 that faced Tottenham. The two, unlike Arnold, have been lauded for their performances in a Liverpool shirt of late, despite question marks hanging over their respective futures. The Carabao Cup presents Slot's first opportunity to lift silverware at Anfield, with the Dutchman having taken over from Jurgen Klopp at the end of last season. Just to let you know that slots Liverpool sit at the summit of the Premier League with a 6-point lead and a game in hand over Arsenal in second, while also holding top spot at the Champions League groups phase. Just to also let you know that the Dutchman's decision to drop Alexander-Arnold could be as much as to get him out of the spotlight as it is to do with his poor performance against Manchester United, given he was given a barrage of abuse at Anfield and online on Sunday. He gave away the ball to Lisandro Martinez, which led to the Red Devils' first goal of the contest, and was later substituted after failing to win a single duel. All right, but that's not to say you trying to compare Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk's situation to Alexander-Arnold is quite different. Arnold has gotten an offer already tabled before him, and we're talking about one of the biggest teams in world football, Real Madrid, and definitely his head would spin when Real Madrid comes calling for you and had made a formal offer of £20 million. It's quite unsettling, unlike Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk, who no team has actually come out to drop monies for. So you can understand why his brains are spinning already, wanting to hit Real Madrid as soon as possible. All right, from Alexander-Arnold, let's go to a team that has just sacked their coach. Yes, we're looking at West Ham sack Julian Lopetegui. That's where we're heading next, and we're going to West Ham. That's where the next big story is coming from, where West Ham have sacked manager Julian Lopetegui following an underwhelming 20 Premier League games in charge. The Spaniard was relieved of his duties following a poor run of form, culminating in a 4-1 defeat by Manchester City at the Etihad on Saturday, which followed a 5-0 drubbing by Liverpool. That result was the straw that broke the camel's back for owner David Sullivan, with the club confirming on Wednesday afternoon that the former Real Madrid boss time in East London has come to an end. The first half of the 2024-2025 season has not aligned with the club's ambitions, and the club has therefore taken action in line with its objectives. Reads the club's statement. The board would like to thank Julian and his staff for their hard work during their time with the Hammers, and wish them every success for the future. The Hammers added that the process of appointing a replacement is on the way. Pressure had been mounting on the Lopetegui for some time now, starting with a 3-1 loss to Leicester at the start of December, which led to the furious away section aiming "You are getting sacked" in the morning chant the Spaniards' way. However, a run of 4 league matches unbeaten, including wins over fellow strugglers Wolves and Southampton, appeared to buy Lopetegui time, who had also jetted home during that run following the death of his father. But the manner of West Ham's defeat by Liverpool and Man City has forced the club's hand, and the club understood to have begun the search for a new coach before Lopetegui's sacking. Meanwhile, we know that former Chelsea boss Graham Potter has been locked in talks with owner Dave Sullivan over the past 48 hours with a view to replacing Lopetegui. West Ham ideally want Potter to take the job initially until the end of the season before reassessing. It is understood that the length of the contract is the point that still needs requiring resolving. In the background, the club have worked on a plan B in the event of Potter turning down their role. All right, from that, we're going to the next big story concerning West Ham, and the story says we're talking about Graham Potter. He is the man making the headlines this morning. Just to let you know that finally, West Ham Graham Potter has agreed to become new West Ham head coach following the club's decision to sack Julian Lopetegui. From the former Chelsea boss, Potter will sign a deal up to 2.5 years to return to football following his departure from Stamford Bridge in April 2023. Lopetegui, who still reported to the club's Rush Green headquarters on Wednesday before he was formally told of his firing, will net just over £3 million from West Ham, owing to a compensation agreement in his contract. There is hope that West Ham can announce Potter as their new boss on Thursday morning. So Mail Sport revealed earlier this week that Potter had held talks with West Ham owner David Sullivan on Monday. We've had the discussions understood to have taken place at the businessman's personal residence. Now, those talks are dragged into Wednesday morning owing to detailed talks over the length of Potter's contract. West Ham initially wanted the former Brighton boss to replace Lopetegui until the end of the season, while Potter wanted a longer commitment, and it is understood that all parties have found a middle ground on what, according to sources, is a deal that will be confirmed as expiring in 2027. There has been no confirmation over whether there is a break clause in the contract, but sources claim that the delay created by agreeing the length of contract was in part due to interest in Potter from Everton. Meanwhile, with that in mind, West Ham put in place contingency plans in the event of an agreement not being reached with Potter. Meanwhile, Christophe Galtier and Paulo Fonseca were both on standby to replace Lopetegui if Potter declined West Ham's offer. But thankfully, Graham Potter is now officially the coach of West Ham. So in the coming days, you'll be seeing that man at the dugout of West Ham United. Let's go for a quick break. When we return from the break, we've got other big stories concerning Tottenham goalkeeper Kinski and others big stories making the rounds. right, welcome back from the break. It's still Talk Sport and giving you some big stories making the rounds. Now you know West Ham have sacked their coach, and it's Graham Potter taking over as the official chief head coach of West Ham United. That's one of the big stories making the rounds in the EPL. And last night it was Tottenham winning Liverpool at the Carabao Cup and moving to the next stage of the tournament. So it's a big one for Tottenham Hotspur, something that will make them truly happy. Let's move, still talking Tottenham news. We've got the Tottenham goalkeeper is in the news this morning as Tottenham goalkeeper Antonin Kinski shared an emotional embrace with his sister, the crowd, after putting an impressive performance on debut against Liverpool. Kinski joined the club from Slava Prague in a deal worth £12.5 million just 3 days ago as they continue to struggle with injuries in defensive areas. And he made his debut on Wednesday night. Our first choice goalkeeper Guglielmo Vicario is out injured after undergoing ankle surgery. Backup Fraser Foster has struggled and been ill, and Brandon Austin was making his debut in the defeat by Newcastle. Meanwhile, Kinski's arrival was therefore the first piece of business Spurs did in transfer window, and he was thrown straight in by Ange Postecoglou and didn't disappoint. He made 6 saves in total with the peak of the lot potentially from Darwin Núñez, as he made himself big from the striker's snapshot from inside the box, helping his side to a 1-0 win. And at full time, the 21-year-old went over to a session of the home fans and embraced his sister Andre, with his father also in attendance. Kinski's father, Anthony Senior, made nearly 400 appearances as a professional footballer in Czech and Russian leagues, while his grandfather also played football. So it runs in the family, but this time he is the only goalkeeper. Others were players on the pitch of play, but a very good move and debut for him for Tottenham, facing a very, very talented side as Liverpool, and was able to hold a clean sheet. That would definitely will give him all the confidence he needs to stay in the English Premier League, coming from Slava Prague. All right, from Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper who made his debut and kept a clean sheet. Let's move to Man City. Yes, we've got Man City news. The blue side of Manchester is in the news this morning as Manchester City are progressing in the discussions to sign for Omar Marmoush from Eintracht Frankfurt for around £50 million, and loans £35 million rated defender Abdul Kadir Kusanov. Mail Sport first reviewed City's interest in Marmoush in December, and the Egypt international is eager for the move to go through to the Premier League champions. Meanwhile, Frankfurt are reluctant sellers, particularly in the winter window, and had hoped to keep hold of the 25-year-old who has scored 18 goals in 24 appearances this season. Meanwhile, Liverpool and Arsenal have also been following Marmoush, but have not followed up their interest, and City are willing to pay around £50 million for a player who can play across the front line or behind the striker. Mail Sport previously reported City are looking to add 2 or 3 signings this window to breathe fresh life into Pep Guardiola's squad and increase competition after a difficult first half of the season. Well, let's just also let you know that the Premier League, yes, the Premier League champions have badly struggled in the absence of Rodri due to injury, and embarked on a disastrous run of 1 win in 13 games before they picked up back-to-back victories over the festive period. Meanwhile, alongside Marmoush, City want to add another midfielder and a centre-back with Mail Sport also previously revealing how talks had taken place over Uzbekistan's international Kusanov. Yes, Kusanov, who is 20, alongside 18-year-old Jumaba of AIK Freetown. So City trying to reinforce their team, trying to get 3 players, 1 midfielder, a defender, and hopefully an attacker. So the 3 main areas, departments of the pitch of play: 1 attacker to give competition to Erling Haaland, a midfielder also to freshen Rodri's place, and a defender to add some solidity in the defense of Man City. So let's see how this is going to pan out, and will that change the fortunes of Man City. But just to let you know, back-to-back victories for Man City has helped them come over that 1 win in 13 games they had before now. All right, we still got some stories making the rounds. Let's reveal to you the first referee to make an announcement as regards VAR. Yes, referee Stuart Atwell is the man who made history. Yes, Stuart Atwell became the first referee to announce a VAR decision live inside a stadium in England during Tottenham's Carabao Cup semi-final first leg against Liverpool. Dominic Solanke thought he had put the host ahead in the 76th minute when he capitalized on Pedro Porro's true ball before he slotted past Alisson Becker. However, after a lengthy VAR review, it was ruled that Solanke was ahead of Liverpool's deepest defender, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and therefore the goal was ruled out. And as part of the new in-stadium trial of VAR announcement for both semi-finals in the Carabao Cup, Atwell subsequently reviewed the reason for the goal being disallowed to the crowd at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The official blew his whistle before he added, after a review, Dominic Solanke was in an offside position as his words sounded over the turmoil inside the ground. There was a predictable level of frustration from the home supporters as boos rang out after the explanation. It was announced last month that the trial was set to run over both legs of the semi-finals, with Arsenal taking on Newcastle during the first leg of the other Final Four clash on Tuesday night. Meanwhile, the Magpies won that match 2-0 to shock the Gunners at the Emirates, yet no decision were referred to the VAR. Remaining referee John Brooks did not have to announce any of his decisions inside the stadium. Meanwhile, but on the other flip side, between Liverpool and Tottenham, Atwell, who was the referee in the center, will go down as having achieved a first in English football, with the EFL revealing ahead of the ties that referees would be required to announce the final VAR decision after taking a trip to the pitchside monitor or upon the conclusion of factual matters as part of the trials, and we did see it yesterday. But just to let you know that a full statement from the EFL explaining what will happen read that a VAR will be in place for this season's Carabao Cup semi-finals, along with the first use of in-stadium VAR announcement in English football. So we saw history being made yesterday, and it took Atwell, referee Stout Atwell was the man who made history. All right, let's move on to other big talking news making the rounds. One team that has been on the ascendancy is Nottingham Forest, and it has one Nigerian-born striker in that team. Yes, you know him, and but he's not the man we're talking about. Awoniyi, he's not the man we're talking about. We're just looking at Nottingham as they look for Douglas Lewis. All right, the big story here tells us that Nottingham Forest have inquired about a loan deal for Juventus midfielder Douglas Lewis. The 26-year-old has also been proposed to Manchester United, Manchester City, and Fulham, with Juventus ideally looking to recoup the £21 million they paid to Aston Villa in the summer. Lewis, who plays for the same club as his girlfriend, Alicia Lehmann, has played just 13 times for Juventus this season and could already be on his way out of the club. Just to let you know that he played 204 times for Aston Villa and was previously linked with a move to Arsenal when the Midlands, though nothing materialized, and he remained with the club, helping them to qualify for the Champions League. His summer departure was somewhat a surprise, but Villa replaced him with his Amadou Onana. Now, however, he could be set to join Forest, who are third in the Premier League table and mounting a serious push to finish in the European qualification places, potentially the Champions League. United look for another midfielder, as Casemiro is expected to join Al Nassr, and Christian Eriksen may yet depart. United priority is to add a striker with Randal Kolo of Paris Saint-Germain, an option. Meanwhile, winger Amad Diallo is expected to sign a new contract on Friday. The forward has been one of the stars of the Ruben Amorim's reign, securing a first team spot, and he scored his sixth goal of the season in a 2-2 draw with Liverpool on Sunday. All right, let's run out for a very quick break. When we return, we'll be taking to the comments of Slot Postecoglou. As regards the VAR change after decisions were announced, the stadium will give you that story and other stories making the rounds in exciting water sports, and not forgetting the big talk point about Palmeiras returning with a £20.5 million from Brazil to get Fulham's midfielder in the person of Andres Pereira. These and other stories after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from the break. We're still talking sport with the big stories making the rounds. Let's talk about two managers making their views known as regards the new change in VAR, the fact that referees would have to make an announcement and explain to football fans why whatever decision they have taken. Just to let you know that both managers from a historic game ridiculed the thing that made it so after Tottenham defeated Liverpool in the Carabao Cup by slamming VAR. Tottenham will take a 1-0 lead to Anfield for the second leg of the semi-final tie in a month's time, after Lucas Bergval's controversial goal proved enough for the hosts to get the win on Wednesday. Vals scored just minutes from time after good work from Dominic Solanke, but the Liverpool camp claimed he shouldn't have been on the pitch after avoiding a second yellow card for a fouling Costas Tsimikas as Liverpool broke moments before, but the goal did stand, and it wasn't the first time Spurs found the back of the net in the game. Though the first goal was ruled out for offside, it also marked the first time a referee announced a VAR decision to fans inside the ground, with Stout Atwell taking to the microphone to detail how Solanke had strayed into an offside position. The announcement was met with jeers from fans inside the stadium, and the two managers didn't take well to it either, with Liverpool boss at the slot, the first to have his say as part of a new in-stadium trial or VAR announcement for both semi-finals in the Carabao Cup. Atwell subsequently reviewed the reason for the goal being allowed to the crowd at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But that's it. There's always a complaint by any of the coaches when you are on the losing side, and that's why we could see Arne Slot truly not happy with the issue of announcing that decision in the stadium. All right, so let's go talk some transfer. Big stories are making the rounds, and we're looking at Palmeiras in the news this morning. Meanwhile, Fulham have received a new offer of around £20.5 million from Palmeiras for midfielder Andres Pereira. The 29-year-old has 18 months left on his contract and is open to discussing new terms, but Fulham have yet to open negotiations. Just to let you know that Sport reported on Saturday how the Cottagers had rejected an initial £60 million bid for the Brazilian giant for Pereira. Meanwhile, Pereira, who joined Fulham from Manchester United for an initial fee of just £10 million in July 2022, has played 18 games for the West London club this season. The Brazilian, who has been capped 9 times by his country, was dropped by Fulham head coach Marco Silva for their draw in Tottenham in December, after he was quoted as saying he wanted to join Marseille. However, Pereira slammed the malicious article and has since returned to the first team fold. Meanwhile, Pereira rose through the ranks of United's academy after joining from PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch league as a highly rated youth prospect. He was loaned out to Granada, Valencia, Lazio, and Flamengo during his time at Old Trafford before leaving on a permanent basis in 2022. Meanwhile, Fulham, who drew 2-2 with Ipswich on Sunday, with Pereira coming off the bench to play the final 27 minutes of the clash. Let's also let you know that Silva, that's the coach of a Fulham side, returned to action on Thursday night when they entertained Watford in the FA Cup third round. Meanwhile, Palmeiras were pipped to the league title by Botafogo in the 2024 league campaign. So they lost now. One of the reasons they want to shore up their team by bringing in Andre Pereira from Fulham, but they need to pay more than £20 million for that man to move the other direction. All right, still talking transfer matters. Let's take it to Old Trafford. Rashford's move is in the news this morning. That's one of the big transfer news, that Marcus Rashford's representative have held talks with European giants Borussia Dortmund and Juventus amid reports that Manchester United forward proposed loan to AC Milan has hit a stumbling block. Meanwhile, Rashford's brother and agent Dwayne Maynard held talks with officials from Juventus on Wednesday. The Manchester United forward representatives has also spoken to Sven Mislintat, the Dortmund technical director. The Bundesliga side last year struck January low move to another one-away Manchester United star in Jadon Sancho before the forward joined Chelsea last summer. Meanwhile, the talks have continued. The race to sign Rashford after the forward revealed last month he was seeking a new challenge away from Manchester United. Meanwhile, Maynard had on Tuesday been in Italy to hold preliminary talks with Italian giant AC Milan. According to Times, a potential move to the newly crowned Italian Super Cup winners may have hit a stumbling block over the forwards' wages. All right, we know also that any deal would hinge on what proportion of his wages United are prepared to pay, as well as the size of the fee if there is an obligation to buy. Meanwhile, the forwards' weekly wages are believed to be around the £325,000 mark. Meanwhile, Milan's highest end Alvaro Morata is said to earn only £150,000 a week. United paid a portion of Sancho and Mason Greenwood's earnings to farm them out on loan to Dortmund and Getafe respectively last season. So on others outside, Como, who are managed by former Arsenal and Chelsea star Cesc Fabregas, have reportedly also been credited with an interest in Rashford. Just to let you know that Como, who are currently 10th in this table, have a link to Manchester United in former defender Raphael Varane. The former France international joined the Italian outfit board after retiring earlier this season. All right, that's a big one there. Is Rashford going to stay put in Manchester United, or is he leaving? Is the big question. But obviously, teams are angling for him, but the big stumbling block remains the money he earns in Manchester United, £325,000 a week. Not many clubs will be willing to pay, and for any club that is willing to pay that amount, Rashford better start scoring the goals in threes in order to justify the huge amount of money being paid to him by Manchester United. So in the coming days, we get to see, will he be joining the old lady of Turin, Juventus, or would he be joining AC Milan? Is it Paris Saint-Germain? Which club will take Marcus Rashford? Will it be Como? These are questions only time and the transfer window would answer in the coming days. All right, let's just talk some tennis as we reach the business end of the program. Talking tennis, we have Naomi Osaka in the news this morning. Just to let you know that Naomi Osaka looked focused as she returned to Melbourne Park on Wednesday afternoon ahead of the Australian Open. It was the first time she has publicly been seen since the US tennis star announced she and her longtime partner, Corde, were no longer in a relationship on Sunday night. The pair began dating in 2019 and welcomed their daughter Shai in the summer of 2023. Osaka said on her Instagram that there was no bad blood at all between the pair, adding that Corde was a great person and an awesome dad. Corde, 27, is an American rapper and songwriter who hails from North Carolina. He is signed to Atlantic Records and is understood to have met Osaka at the Los Angeles Clippers match. Osaka, meanwhile, has enjoyed a very good start to the season, reaching the final of the ASB Classic in Auckland, but unfortunately was forced to retire through injury. Let's just let you know that the 27-year-old is looking to win her fifth Grand Slam, I beg your pardon, after also clinching the 2020 and 2018 US Open Women's Singles title, and looked focused during a practice session on Thursday. Osaka and her coach, Patrick Mouratoglou, stepped out onto the court at Melbourne Park as Osaka went through several practice sessions, working on multiple different shots. She and her trainer were seen deep in discussions over one aspect of her game before the pair smiled on the court, and Osaka generally seemed to be in a good form despite this weekend's news with the two-time US Open champion grinning and smiling on court. There were moments though that she did look a little frustrated with her game, turning to the coach and appearing to frown at the renowned French tennis coach. All right, so let's go for a quick break. When we return, we'll be wrapping up the program on today's edition on the program Talk Sports. Stay with us. right, and welcome back from the break. Is that time when it's time for us to call it a wrap on the program. But just to let you know, history was made last night by one referee. His name, Stout Outwell, became the first referee to announce a VAR decision inside during a live game in England during Tottenham's Carabao Cup semi-final first leg against Liverpool, where Dominic Solanke thought he had put the host ahead in the 76th minute when he capitalized on Pedro Porro's through ball before he slotted past Alisson. So that history is being made by no other person but Stout Outwell, being the first referee in England in the league, EFL league, to make that announcement as being proposed last month. So history being made, and that's how we're making history here by calling it a wrap on today's edition of the program Talk Sport, with all the big stories there for you to get into and get well informed. My name is Anthony Momodi, saying thank you for joining me on today's edition of the program Talk Sport. Let's do this again tomorrow. We'll bring you fresh big stories making the rounds in the exciting world of sport. Good morning.